It's Ham Radio with Neil Rapp. Here we go. Welcome to Ham Talk Live. Call in, let's talk. Neil's your guy. Ham Talk Live. Here we go on Ham Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody. This is the demo episode of Ham Talk Live, entitled Getting to Know Your Host, and it's recorded on Monday, February 1st, 2016. I am the aforementioned host, Neil Rapp. My call sign is WB9VPG. Thanks for tuning in to the demo episode of Ham Talk Live. Ham Talk Live is a live call-in talk radio show on the internet every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, starting on February 18th. For 30 minutes, we hope to entertain and educate people with ham radio. What makes this show a little different from other shows is that we broadcast live, which can be a scary thing sometimes. You can't go back and fix the mistakes, but we're going to give it a try. The other thing that's a little different from a lot of podcasts is we're going to take calls from you, the listener. To get the show started the first few weeks, we're going to take a special guest each week to interview. And then at the end of the show, you'll be able to Skype in or call in and ask questions. Now, again, this is live radio, so we don't know what's going to happen. I'm a little nervous about taking a chance with some QRM, but at least we don't have to worry about the FCC revoking our license or anything on the internet, right? So I hope the callers will be courteous and supportive of the show, and if we run into trouble, we'll try to find a way to fix that. But as the show grows, we hope to have some nights where we just take some calls and talk about whatever's happening in ham radio. We've got some fabulous guests lined up for the next few weeks, and as we get closer to Dayton Hamvention, we're going to do a little preview of some of the activities there. Our first guest is going to be Dr. Scott Wright, K0MD. Scott is a cardiologist with the Mayo Clinic, and like me, has been a ham since childhood. He's a well-known contester, DXer, and he's been on several DXpeditions. So I'm excited to have him on as my very first guest. And after that, Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, has agreed to come on the show. Don's a professional broadcaster and the fearless leader at Amateur Radio Newsline and co-host of the popular video podcast Ham Nation on Twit TV. And so Don will be joining us before too long. And we have a list of other people that we're working on. But I wanted to do a little demo here first so that people can kind of get an idea of the show and let you get to know me in case you don't already. I became a ham when I was 5 years old, and at the time was the youngest one in the world. That record doesn't hold up anymore, but at the time it was the record. And it all started when my dad got a code oscillator out of the closet and decided that he would give ham radio a try. His high school electronics teacher in Mount Vernon, Illinois, Max Pemberton, K4HAX, introduced him to ham radio in high school. And he never did get his license, but it planted a seed, and he went to work for Thortis and Meisner in Mount Carmel, Illinois, and then as a TV repairman in Vincennes, Indiana, and then went to work at Good Samaritan Hospital as a biomedical electronic technician. And when he saw a flyer for a non-credit course at the local junior college, Vincennes University, he decided that he was going to give it a shot and he was going to get his license. So Max had planted a seed in him that ended up growing, and he decided, well, you know, I'll take my son along. He's only 5 years old, and there was a restriction on the class. You had to be at least 13, and there was a girl that was there that was right around 13 or so, and a little bit on the younger side, and she was just coming along, and so Dad asked, well, can I bring my son along? He'll sit here and be quiet. He won't cause any disruption. And they said, well, yeah, as long as he doesn't cause any disruptions, doesn't interfere with the class, it'll be fine. But if he causes any kind of, disruption to the class, then no, you're not going to be able to do that. So anyway, he took me, and I was a pretty good kid. And Dad sat there with his notebook copying Morse code, and so I took my notebook along, and I started copying Morse code, and people kind of looked around and was like, wait a second, this 5-year-old is copying Morse code. Maybe this kid could actually do it. And so I went with him every week, and finally they came time to give the 5 words per minute code test, and I went ahead and took it. And you had to get 25 characters solid copy, 25 characters in a row without any mistakes, and I got 23. So I didn't pass the first time around, so I was a little disappointed, but came back the next time and copied 104 in a row. So they said, "Oh, well, I guess a 5-year-old can do this." So they mailed off for my test, and took the test. It was delayed a little bit because I didn't know how to write in cursive. I didn't know how to sign my name. And I printed my name. And the 610, the Form 610, which now it's 605, but the Form 610 from the FCC never did come back. And, it said, well, it's not properly filled out. So we filled it out again, and Dad helped me write in cursive to sign my name. And the test arrived, so I took it in the basement of a guy down the street who was teaching the theory part, Howard Hazelman, K9SLV, and sent it off. And Bill Sage, K9IHU, was my code instructor. He was a lifelong Elmer and mentor, and someone very near to my heart. But they helped me through, and the license came. So it came on a Saturday morning, and my dad had been called to the hospital to work overtime. And when the license came, I turned on the radio and got on the air. I didn't wait for Dad to get home. And Mom was just, I think, in total shock because I had gone ahead and got on the radio. And lo and behold, my first contact was Jim Cobb, K3DIF, who worked at the Associated Press in Washington, D.C. And so I, sent age 5, during the exchange, and he said, well, wait a second, you're a ham and you're 5 years old? And so he investigated that a little bit and started doing a little digging and decided that this was a news story. And so word spread from there, and so I ended up on TV and in a lot of magazines and things like that. I upgraded to technician at age 6, general at 7, advanced at 9, and then that 20 words a minute code. I just didn't want to do it. And along came the volunteer examining program, and I wanted to help out with that. And so at 18, I took the 20 words per minute. I had to take it several times. It wasn't so much copying the code as much as it was writing at 20 words a minute. I just didn't do well with that, but I finally got it and passed it, and got my extra at age 18. So ham radio's been a part of most of my life. In fact, it'll be 40 years this coming July. Became interested in repeaters Spent a lot of time playing around with repeaters and new bells and whistles and trying out things that interested me. That was a lot of fun and helped start operating the EARS Wide Area Repeater Network. And one of the things I've been involved with most, especially in recent years, is teaching young people. Max planted that seed in Dad. Dad planted that seed in me, and now I'm planting that seed at Bloomington High School South here in Bloomington, Indiana, where I teach chemistry. But I also sponsor the Ham Radio Club, and you'll be hearing some more about that. And I've been on Ham Nation recently about that. So it's a great club there, great students, great parents. Many donors and sponsors have helped. And it's just great that we can do that. We do some contesting. We do fox hunting, little project building. Personally, I enjoy FM. I still like FM and APRS. And, of course, some HF, some DXing, and PSK 31. Haven't branched out too much into a lot of digital modes. I used to do a lot of RTTY and ASCII and even some Amtor back when I was a kid. But PSK 31 seems to be about the only one that I do on a regular basis. I can do some CW, but I haven't done it in a long time. It's usually in the classroom to show the kids. I haven't made a live CW contact in a long time. But if you have any questions about any of those things along the way, I'll do my best to answer those. But maybe the best thing I can do is point you to the right person to ask. I've been very blessed to meet many knowledgeable and helpful hams over the years, and we're going to invite those people on, and we can point you in the right direction. So that's my story, and hopefully as the show gets going, we'll learn some of your stories. But right now it's time to take a quick break, but I'll be back to take a call, and then we'll wrap things up for the demo episode of Ham Talk Live. This is Neil Rapp coming to you live on the internet at hamtalklive.com.
This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. Tower Electronics has been the ham's dime store since 1978, bringing connectors, antennas, cables, and other parts to the world. Scott and Jill travel the country bringing their store to you at Hamfest, but you can also order online at pl-259.com or by calling 920-435-2973. Stock up on those supplies like PL259 and N connectors, audio cables, mobile antennas, and ham sticks. Their silver-plated N connectors are even in use on the International Space Station. Tower Electronics is a dealer for MFJ, Comet, Daiwa, OPEC, Workman, and Ham Pro Technologies. Tower Electronics online at pl-259.com, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
Oh, yeah. You're talking ham radio, baby. You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
And welcome back to the demo episode of Ham Talk Live. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, and we'd like to thank Scott and Jill at Tower Electronics for sponsoring the show, so we can bring you Ham Talk Live every week. Be sure to listen every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, starting on February 18th, right here on hamtalklive.com. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page and our Twitter feed. Just search for Ham Talk Live, and if you missed the show, you can download the podcast from the website or from Spreaker, which is where we host the show, and we'll have it on iTunes soon, and possibly SoundCloud and iHeart Podcasts. We'll have to get going a little bit before we get into those, but you can definitely find us online. So the idea of the show is to take your calls, so we're going to take one right now. And once the show is going, the best way to join us is on Skype, at Ham Talk Live. So if you just get on Skype and add Ham Talk Live, you can give us a call that way. And if you can't Skype us, you can call us. We have a phone number that's tied into Skype. It's 812-NET-HAM1. Again, that's 812-NET-HAM1. So you'll be able to give us a call. So right now we're going to take a call. And joining us this evening is Eric Bonham in 9KDB. He's one of the net controls with Central Indiana Skywarn, and he's my best friend and helps out with the Ears Repeater organization. So, Eric, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit on this demo episode, so we have something to talk about, is the repeater network. We've done some work with the Ears system and trying to get linked into Indianapolis, and that was a little far to be linking from Vincennes to Indianapolis, and so we were able to work out a system through Terre Haute. So why don't you explain how the Central Indiana Skywarn link system works and what that's used for, and what needs to be on that system and what shouldn't be on that system.
Okay. Well, the linking originates from up here in Indianapolis. The W9ICE group, they allow us to use their system. They have a network of different repeaters that they link in. Let's see, they've got a simplex repeater at Freetown. I believe they're linking into us. Lafayette, there's a repeater up there. UHF, another UHF machine, I believe, in northern Boone County. There's also a 2-meter machine up there that's new this year, or this past year, I should say. There's some talk about Muncie, I believe, down the road or somewhere up that area. And we link into Terre Haute. Over there, the 444-35 machine, which in turn passes traffic from Vincennes on the Ears repeater down there through Terre Haute, then up to us.
Okay, so during those nets, what is the purpose of linking all these systems together?
Well, to pass traffic as quickly as we can from, especially farther out through the system to the National Weather Service in Indianapolis. We have a radio at the warning coordinator's desk there, and they monitor it whenever there's a net up. A few of those guys are hams out there, or one of us will go out there, and we just pass traffic on. And if we do have ham out there, we write down reports on these little forms that the Weather Service has, and then that gets passed along to their person taking those, and then they log them and get them in the system for various reasons, to confirm warnings or pass along damage reports to local media and law enforcement, stuff like that.
Okay, so you're collecting all this information from all the severe weather that's happening in the area. Does anybody call in on this network, or is that restricted to certain people?
Well, what we like for it to be is it's in the incident command structure of reporting. So there's a net control, and what ideally happens is each county or area of counties will have a separate weather net locally that they're doing, and what they would do is have liaisons from their particular local net call in reports to us, rather than just have 100 hams on trying to call in stuff at the same time. We'll just do it in an orderly fashion by just one liaison from one net.
So all the nets are basically checking into a bigger net
Exactly.
To get everything accomplished. Okay.
Yes.
That's, that seems like a good system, and thank you for all that you do, and Mark and John and all the guys up there to make all that work.
Yeah, it can be fun. We get a lot going on sometimes, and it can be in the middle of the night too. We do our best to try to be there for everybody.
Yeah, I know you've had a lot of late nights with that, so thanks for helping keep us safe.
My pleasure.
Okay, that's Eric Bonham, N9KDB of Indianapolis, Indiana, talking a little bit about Central Indiana Skywarn. And since this is a demo version, we're going to go ahead and cut this off tonight. But I want to thank Eric for being my guest, and that wraps up episode number 0 of Ham Talk Live. Thanks to all you listeners out there in cyberspace, and we invite you all back for the first real episode. It's going to be Thursday night, February 18th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So for now, this is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, saying 73, 75, and may the good DX be yours.